So, hello everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the new day and new vlog. Today we have with us our beloved friend Shubhadeep. How are you, Shubhadeep?
I'm doing good. What about you?
Superb. And today we thought that we'll be discussing about one of the subjects that Shubhadeep took in last semester, which is network security. In one of the previous videos, we have discussed about HCI, which is human computer interaction, about the subject overview, about the insights and the exam experience. And today we'll be discussing this subject, which is network security, step by step, starting with the overview part, then maybe the insights part, and then the exam experience part. So if we start, Shubdi, with network security, about the overview.
Okay, so network security is a subject that usually teaches us about what various kinds of attacks there can be
Yeah.
taken on, the attacks that that can happen on our telecommunications networks.
Yeah.
So it can be on mobile towers,
Yeah.
it can be on the internet,
Yeah.
any kind of network, any kind of LAN network.
Yeah.
So any kind of network that can have an attack, it discusses these attacks
Yeah.
and then teaches us what kind of mitigation strategies are there
Yeah.
to each and every such an attack.
And how can you prevent those attacks?
Yes, how can you prevent
as well?
those?
So I think this subject, I also attended some of the classes, but I did not give the exam. But Shubdeep, I think, gave the exam as
Yeah.
well, and he has attended the classes. So Shubdeep, starting like you talked about the network security subject, how was the lecture experience first of all,
Oh,
or the
yes,
subject
yeah, yeah.
experience?
So the lecture experience was actually very good. We used
Yeah.
to have lectures of like 1.5 hours,
Yeah.
and usually it would be just one topic per lecture.
Okay.
And the professor was really good at explaining the stuff.
Yeah.
Also, he would give some very good real life examples of
Okay.
how these attacks were carried out in
Yeah.
maybe let's say in a war scenario or
Okay.
some other scenario, how these attacks were carried out on
Yeah.
telecommunications networks.
Yeah.
So it was really important to like I felt really I felt that the lecture was very informative.
Yeah.
As well as I got to know a lot of stuff that I didn't know previously.
Yeah, so I think it was quite interesting
Yep.
subject as well. And now talking about, like you said, 1.5 hour lecture.
Yeah.
So do you have any exercise session or you have any detail regarding it?
Okay, yes. So we do have compulsory exercises for this
Yeah.
subject. However, they are not the usual kind of exercises that you
Yeah.
get for every subject.
Yeah.
That is, we don't have a week by week assignment that you
Yeah.
get, like every week an assignment. We don't, that's not the scenario here.
Yeah.
What we do have is that we get a report task which is sent to us by mail.
Yeah.
And we are supposed to complete the report task in groups of 3, and we are given a time of 1 month.
Yeah.
And we are supposed to submit it, and then there will be a review system.
Yeah.
Where we will get to review some other students' papers, some other
Yeah.
groups' papers.
Yeah.
And our paper will be reviewed by
Those students.
three other such groups.
Yeah.
Which, and nobody knows which group reviews which
Yeah.
group's paper.
Yeah.
So that's how the professor makes it interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
And
and let's say if you get some mistakes shown to you, that this
Yeah.
like you have some mistakes, you haven't added many pictures to your report and
Yeah.
everything, so you will get another chance to submit your report again.
Yeah.
After some changes, you will get
So-
another a week or two time,
yeah.
and then you will get to submit again.
Yeah, so based on the review as well, and I think me, Shubdeep, and Muntasir were in the same group. Although me and Muntasir did not give that exam, we deregistered it. We have talked about our deregistration of exam experience in one of the videos. I'll put that one in the description. So Shubdeep, continuing with the topic. So, like you said, we had this mandatory assignment. So was it mandatory to give the exam as well?
No, the exam is not mandatory. The
The assignment to give the exam.
Yes, the assignment to give the exam is mandatory.
Yeah.
The exam, if you want to sit for it, the only requirement is that you have to complete that report task.
Yeah.
And also, after the report task, you have another thing called the hack challenge.
Okay,
which
yeah.
is like a coding challenge that they give you.
Yeah.
Where they create like a scenario where you are supposed to hack into some professor's server, and
Yeah.
then you have to steal some information from
Yeah.
there, which is really cool. Actually,
Yeah.
you get to use some tools
Yeah.
which the professor has set up themselves, and
Yeah.
you get to really show that you can show off your hacking skills there.
Yeah. So now talking about, like you said, this is mandatory. The report task is mandatory, and also this hacking challenge. You have to complete this to
Yeah.
sit for the exam. And now talking about like how was this subject system? You used to come, like there were classes offline, or you had online sessions as well regarding the
Okay,
lecture.
so the classes were offline. We had
Yeah.
to sit here in the building number 42, room 110, I believe, and we sat there, and it was a 1.5 hour class, and
Yeah.
all the classes were offline. There are no online classes as such for this subject.
Okay, so you had to come to the lecture hall, you attend lectures, and not weekly exercise sessions, but some tasks that you have to do to give the exam. So because for some of the subjects we don't have mandatory exercises, it's recommended to go to the exercise session, but I think for this there is this mandatory task like Shubdeep said, and then you can give the exam. You can deregister, it's upon you, the exam 1 week before, right? And now if we come to the insight part, like you shared some of the insights, now talking about the exam experience. So how was the exam experience? If one person take this subject, like what he can expect in the exam, what is the timing of the exam, if we can discuss about that.
Yeah. So the exam is usually of 70 marks and the time duration is 1 hour. And most of the exam consists of theoretical questions and there might be one or two conceptual questions which you will need to, like in here they will give you some statement or a paragraph and you need to infer as to what attack could have been taken place here, or like what are the mitigation strategies to these attacks. So, and also apart from these 70 marks there is also one extra special question which is a crossword.
Why is it special?
So because it's a crossword. You know how crossword puzzles work. So they give you a crossword puzzle and then if you're able to solve that question, I guess per crossword puzzle, like per row in the crossword puzzle you're able to solve, I guess you get 1 mark for that.
And you solve this is an extra question.
Yeah, this is an extra question that is separate from the 70 marks that you have. So let's say if you let's say you are not able to answer any question in the 70 marks, you have this extra question which you can try it out. And usually it makes things fun in the exam as well.
So paper is of 70 marks.
Paper is of 70 marks.
And what is the timing of the exam?
And the exam duration is of 1 hour.
1 hour, so 60 minutes, 70 marks, and you have theoretical questions. Did you had any mathematical questions as well in the exam?
There were not as much mathematical questions. I believe there was just one, but even then it's not that much math in there.
So I think you have to, and one more point here, that so you have the slides for it, right? So were the PPT material enough? Like you said, professor used to discuss some of the scenarios, or you have to read any other material apart from the PPTs available, or any kind of research paper related to network security. How does that work?
So yeah, the PPT material is actually enough. You won't have any questions coming from outside of the syllabus. You can just study the PPT material and that will be enough for the exam.
And talking about, like, did you had any reference of previous year exams for this subject as well?
Yes, we had a few questions upon the Kai portal. However, there were not a lot of question papers available.
And like, was there any, like in one of the last lectures, did you get any info regarding like what questions can come in the exam? Some information regarding that?
Yes, he did. The professor did talk about like what kind of questions there might be, how the questions will be like topic wise. There will be topic 1.
Topic wise.
And there will be like, let's say 5 questions on that topic. And then we'll go to topic 2. 5 questions on that. And some of them will be theoretical and some of them can be like maybe sketching a diagram of like telecommunications network, or maybe even like a descriptive question, or even a conceptual question.
And did you have any multiple choice or true or false, something like that?
No, we didn't have any multiple choice or true or false questions.
So theoretical questions, like you said, mostly in the paper topic wise. So it's like chapter 1, chapter 2, like that, and then the sub questions are there for that topic. So I think it's also interesting, like if you read the PPTs topic wise. And how would you summarize this exam experience for you? Like you gave the exam.
It was really good.
How much time does it take, and how was the exam manageable? Was it manageable well within the time as well or not? So about that, if you can.
So the exam is pretty well manageable within the time if you're thorough with your studies and if you really know your material really well. You can complete the exam under an hour.
60 minutes were enough for 70 marks.
60 minutes were enough. You can complete even with 5 minutes remaining and get some time to like check your answers even.
And like you said, the material was also enough for this exam. And like you used to work on it like on a regular basis, right? To study for the network security.
You do need to study for it because there is a lot of theory in the paper.
So you have to.
However, and hence you have to put some time into studying this subject.
And if any like student who would be taking this subject, what would you recommend for him? Like, do they need to know any prerequisite knowledge for it, or is it manageable with the lectures if they are taking or learning this subject for the very first time?
So what I would suggest is, since there is a report task which you have to write it in the form of a research paper. So have some understanding of how to write research papers. You don't need a complete understanding. You're not doing a PhD here. You just need enough understanding on how to like work on scientific writing, how to write scientific literature. That should be really good. That should be really helpful for you to complete the exercise. And the hacking challenge is, it's okay. The hacking challenge is the coding the coding exercises and everything, they are inside the lecture. You can use the tools whatever they suggest in the lecture, and you can complete the hacking challenge.
Okay.
And apart from that, I believe the subject is really good. It's really informative, and I'm sure students will really like it.
Yeah, I also attended some of the lectures because we did went till the last point, and I think we also did seminar and project along with it, so we got some idea how to write the text for the assignment. But like Shubdeep said, whoever is doing for the very first time, it's good to have the prerequisite knowledge of how to write scientific paper in the formal language or in the rules that are described. Also, are these rules checked, like the font and all these things?
Oh yes, that is checked. I personally got so I had to submit again because I had less pages, not less images in my scientific paper. Also, there were some issues with formatting in my scientific paper, so I had to submit again. But once I fixed those issues and submitted again, it was accepted.
So you got the chance to resubmit and then you were accepted. So this is important because I think that's the basis to give the exam. So, and it gets reviewed randomly by 3 other groups.
And professor, I believe the teaching assistants also review it along with those.
Okay. And groups. When you review someone's paper, you also leave some comments?
Yes, we do leave comments on there.
Okay.
That is what is checked by those teaching assistants as well. What sort of comments have been left by the other groups who have reviewed your paper.
Okay. And now, just one more question, that coming to the lecture was mandatory or not, or it's upon you?
No, the lecture is coming to the lecture is not mandatory. Even the slides and all the material is available on OLAT when you register for the course. So yeah, it is not mandatory. However, I would suggest coming to the lectures because they are really interesting. The professor is really interesting.
Yeah, so I think that is important. So I hope through this video you got the idea, like Shubdeep started with the lecture part. So 1.5 hour lecture, like the mandatory assignment and the hacking challenge that he discussed, about the exam experience that he discussed, like 70 marks. 70 marks in 60 minutes.
60 minutes.
And it's manageable. And I think if you study regularly or you have a good knowledge of the subjects, even if you don't have a prerequisite knowledge of network security, I think you can learn the basics along with the lectures.
They start from basics. They do start from basics.
Okay. And when you had doubts, were you able to ask to the professors or the assistants?
Oh yes, the professor is really helpful. He will answer every single doubt of yours.
Yeah, and I also attended some of the lectures, so it's quite interesting. He gives sometimes real life examples, and then you get the gist of the concepts that he teaches. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you, Shubdeep, for sharing all these details, like subject overview, insights, and the exam experience. Also, how's the lecture system in RPTU Kaiserslautern, how you can see the previous year papers in Kai. I also have talked about in one of the videos, what is cheat sheet? Is cheat sheet allowed or not?
Cheat sheet it's not allowed. So be wary of that.
Okay, so you don't have like an open book exam. Cheat sheets are not allowed. So you can watch related videos in RPTU Kaiserslautern playlist about various other subjects as well. I'll end this vlog now. Rest like, comment, share, subscribe. It doesn't take much time. Bye. Ciao. Namaste. Chalo, see you in new day, new vlog. Also, as I said, you can go to different playlists and watch videos according to your interest. In RPTU Kaiserslautern playlist, there are videos in English. Otherwise, in other playlists, there are videos with subtitles as well. Bye.